The story begins with Chihiro and friends chatting with Ichikawa about his injured arm. Chihiro mentions that Yamada already filled them in about Ichikawa's tumble on a snowy mountain in Akita. Just then, Adachi steps in, clearly annoyed by the attention Ichikawa is getting, especially from the girls. He snarkily tells Ichikawa not to get too full of himself just because he's hurt. Meanwhile, Ichikawa's popularity takes a hit when the girls spot his keychain. As they're leaving, Yamada leans in to whisper to Ichikawa, telling him he can come to her for help if he ever needs it. Right at that moment, Hara catches a glimpse of their exchange and notices Ichikawa's keychain, which matches Yamada's. He starts thinking there might be something romantic brewing between them. Later, Ichikawa talks with his teacher, who's concerned about his arm. The teacher suggests Ichikawa could use some help in class and with his injury, offering to pair him with a classmate. He thinks Yamada would be perfect for the job, assuming she and Ichikawa are close. But Ichikawa quickly shuts that idea down, saying they don't really talk much. He reassures his teacher that he's fine and will find someone else in class to help him. When he walks into class, he finds Yamada there, who has overheard the entire conversation. She looks pretty upset, leaving Ichikawa feeling panicked. He realizes he might have just ruined his chance to get closer to her by his careless words. Chihiro is at his desk struggling to take notes with his left hand due to his injury. He thinks he'll need someone's help to get a copy of today's notes. Yamada notices his trouble but leaves the classroom without saying anything. Soon, Adachi walks in and hands Chihiro the notes, explaining that Yamada asked him to do this favor. Adachi even mentions that Yamada called Chihiro kind and cool, hinting that she might like him. Ichikawa, feeling a bit threatened, glares at Adachi, making him back off. Later, after school, Chihiro talks to Yamada about what he said to their teacher. He apologizes, saying he didn't want to trouble her, which is why he said they weren't close. But he confesses that he would like to rely on her if he ever really needs help. Yamada smiles at this, saying she knew it all along, which makes Chihiro shyly cover his face. As they walk home, Yamada offers to carry Chihiro's bag. At first, he refuses, worrying it's too heavy for her. But he changes his mind, not wanting to upset her. After handing over his bag, Chihiro awkwardly tells Yamada to not talk too much with Adachi, hinting at his jealousy. She teases him by asking why, but Chihiro doesn't have an answer for her. Over several weeks, Yamada helps Ichikawa with various tasks like eating lunch, reading books, and taking notes. Chihiro thinks about how he's not really used to the way Yamada does things. One day in class, he overhears Adachi and some other guys talking about a magazine. Adachi, always the joker, guesses it's about some racing event. But another student corrects him, saying it's actually an idol magazine featuring Yamada, which makes Adachi super excited to see her pictures. He's surprised to find Yamada in the magazine and wonders why she's there, given she's a model. Chihiro explains that besides modeling, Yamada has been on various TV shows and movies, probably because her agency encouraged it. The boys start speculating whether Yamada is trying to become an idol, making Chihiro realize she never mentioned any of this to him. Adachi then starts to wonder aloud how Yamada would look in a swimsuit, but he quickly stops himself when she walks by. Later, Yamada asks Chihiro what he was chatting about with Adachi and the others. Chihiro brushes it off as just guy stuff, which makes Yamada think they were discussing typical boyish topics. Later, the pair go to a convenience store, where Yamada excitedly shows Chihiro a magazine with her in it. She starts telling him about her experiences working with the company and their staff, but then she hesitates, worried that Chihiro might feel uncomfortable. But Chihiro, always supportive, tells her he likes her just the way she is, especially when she's being genuine and honest. Happy to hear this, Yamada buys some of the magazines for Chihiro, and they leave the store together. As Chihiro and Yamada walk together, Chihiro contemplates asking her about her work as an idol to understand her better. However, he hesitates to bring it up. Yamada then shows him more pictures from the magazine, curious to know which one he likes the most. Chihiro, trying to be diplomatic, says he doesn't particularly like any of them but admits that she looks very different in the magazine compared to her usual self. Yamada catches on that Chihiro must have seen the magazine before, and he confirms it, mentioning that his sister had brought it home the previous day. Yamada then opens up about how her life as an idol feels different compared to her regular life, but she confesses that she enjoys the change. In their home economics class, Yamada struggles with a simple task, breaking eggs, and she ends up making a mess. Meanwhile, Hara engages Chihiro in conversation, asking about his plans for the winter break. Chihiro humorously mentions going to his hometown and then the incident of breaking his hand. When Hara poses the same question to Yamada, she lists several activities, including spending Christmas Eve with Chihiro. Yamada turns the question back to Hara, who shares that she and Kanzaki plan to visit a shrine. However, she feels awkward about it since Kanzaki has grown out his sideburns, making her unsure how to act around him. She seeks advice from Yamada, who, after a glance at Chihiro, admits she doesn't have much experience in romantic matters. Suddenly, the home economics teacher enters and instructs everyone to tuck their bangs under their bandanas. Chihiro, still hindered by his injured hand, struggles with this task. Yamada steps in to help, chuckling at his appearance as she adjusts his bandana. Hara, observing this interaction, senses there's something special between them. Later, Chihiro, Yamada, Hara, Adachi, and another classmate gather to sample the food they've prepared in class. As Yamada is about to try Adachi's dish, Chihiro impulsively grabs it and tastes it first, assuring Adachi that it's delicious. This playful act catches Hara's attention, and she notices Chihiro's keychain falling to the ground. She picks it up and hands it to him, prompting Yamada to comment on its cuteness. Before Hara can delve deeper into the keychain's significance, Kanzaki joins them, shifting her focus away from Chihiro and Yamada. In the library, Chihiro sits lost in thought, wondering if Hara has caught on to the special bond he shares with Yamada. He ponders how Yamada might react if Hara starts asking about their relationship. While helping Chihiro, Yamada ends up dozing off. She wakes up and apologizes, something Chihiro notices she does quite often. Wanting to cheer her up, Chihiro decides to show her a photo of his sister from her coming-of-age ceremony. Then, he shares a picture of a snowy landscape he had taken, fulfilling a request Yamada had made back in Season 1. However, he accidentally lets slip that this was the place where he broke his arm, which makes Yamada feel sad once more. Chihiro quickly tries to lighten the mood, explaining that his fall was just due to his own carelessness. They leave the library together, but the atmosphere between them is a bit strained. The next day, Chihiro finds himself thinking about Yamada and why she hasn't been keeping in touch with him as much. Meanwhile, Moko, Serena, and Kai approach Chihiro with concerns about Yamada's recent odd behavior. Just as they're discussing this, Yamada walks into the class and greets everyone but soon realizes she's misplaced her keychain. Chihiro is torn about whether he should offer his keychain to her. At the same time, an announcement comes from Kintaro's teacher about an early end to the lecture due to upcoming bad weather. Later, near the lockers, Chihiro bumps into Hara and Kanzaki. Hara mentions how upset Yamada is about losing her keychain, and Chihiro, realizing how important it is to her, decides to leave school and search for it. As he's looking for the keychain on the way to school, Moko spots him and points out he's searching in the wrong area. She directs him to where he's more likely to find it. During his search, Chihiro unexpectedly runs into Yamada. It turns out Moko had sent her a photo of Chihiro looking for something. Yamada, teary-eyed, tells Chihiro that she searched her house but couldn't find the keychain. Just as she's about to break down even more, Chihiro spots her keychain hanging from a tree branch. He retrieves it and hands it over to her, to which she expresses her deep gratitude. Then, as Chihiro sneezes from the cold, Yamada, concerned for his health, surprisingly invites him over to her place to warm up, leaving Chihiro in utter shock. This brings an end to our episode. If you enjoyed it, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for Anime Recap.